Bella, honey.
Come on. Out. Out. Let's go. Out. We'll try again later.
Okay, welcome back to Busted Hip Gaming. Tonight I am going to be talking about talking. How to talk on stream, how to engage with people, just generally how to be a little more entertaining, and to sort of address some of the challenges people have with their public speaking. So if that's something that you have had some challenges with and you want to make it better, you appreciate the importance of being able to yakety yak with the people who are in your stream, this is the place you need to be tonight. So, why don't we get this moving? Alright, so right now we're playing Creativerse, which is a Minecraft type game. It's, in my opinion, a better game than Minecraft because it is so much prettier. Not even kidding, it's just really pretty. I love this game. So, we're going to play that for a bit and try to get a handle on, whoops, wrong rock. Try to get a handle on what challenges people have with their in-game chat. So there's a couple things that people need to really focus on if they want to build that super amazing kind of rapport, I guess is the word we're looking for here, with the people in their chat stream, and to get comfortable with it and do a good job with it. And the first one, not surprisingly, is going to be knowing what you should and shouldn't talk about. And that may seem pretty obvious, but a lot of the time we sort of go off the cuff and we're not really thinking clearly about what we're about to say. And that, I have to tell you, can be a mistake. You really want to be careful to not push people's buttons, when they're in stream with you, because that can be that can just really break the whole environment for people, and it can cause hurt feelings and stress, and that's never good. So the things I say you should avoid at all costs would be sex, obviously, because that gets people really, it gets people interested, but it also brings out the worst in people, and people tend to make a lot of really unpleasant comments and that kind of thing. So you want to try to avoid that at all costs. It's just never a good idea to make that a conversation topic in your stream. Politics would be the next one that you want to avoid at all costs. Money is usually a bad one, unless you're doing a stream that has to do with finance. People do IRL streams and talk shows about financial stuff, so that's not a bad thing to do in that circumstance. But you don't want to talk about people's salaries or get people griping about their jobs or whatever, because that will almost never end well. You don't want that to be a focal point of the conversation on your stream. So, how do you get around that one? Well, you just simply don't bring it up, and if it does appear because somebody else brings it up, gently deflect the conversation away from that. And of course, politics is always, always, always going to be a hot button. You never want to bring that into your stream because it will come back to bite you. It's just always bad to talk politics on stream. Now, that doesn't mean you aren't entitled to your opinions. Of course you are. But politics can be very divisive, right? And that's not what you want. You want your stream to feel inclusive. You want people to want to engage. You want people to want to talk. You want people to want to speak in ways that are positive, and fun, and, to keep the feeling that this is an enjoyable place to be going on your stream. Politics really torpedoes that faster than just about anything else, other than maybe religion, which is the other one you definitely do not want to ever talk about. So those would be the don't do it kind of items. So I see people are starting to join. I feel like I should just remind people, if you have any questions or comments or ideas, feel free to put them out there in the chat, and we will dig into all the topics that you guys want to bring up, and we will make this as informative and useful for you as we possibly can. So we were just talking about the things not to talk about on stream, which can be basically summarized by saying politics, sex, money, and religion. Those are the four things you just really don't want to talk about because they're very hot buttony and they really kind of set people off. And you don't want to do that. You want people to be focused on the gameplay and on you as their host and on the fun of the experience. And, hot button stuff always torpedoes that. So avoid that at all costs. You do not want that to be the focal point of your stream. So with that out of the way, what do you want to talk about on stream? Well, the first thing is you can never go wrong really engaging about the game you're playing. If you're not sure what to say, what almost always goes well is sharing ideas on the game that amount to a tutorial or tips and tricks kind of video, because everybody likes knowing what their favorite streamer uses for strategies, what secrets they may know that the viewers don't, and that gives you sort of the wise guru kind of approach to use. Oh, look at this amazing idea that I have, and you can use it too. And you feel like when a streamer shares that stuff with you, you feel like you've gotten something out of it, and that's going to be a key because people like to go places where they feel they're receiving, right? That's a very big deal item. People want to receive fun, they want to receive education about their games, they want to see good gameplay if that's the purpose of the channel, they want to see character, they want to see engagement. So whatever it is they want, you can turn that one up. Indeed. But yeah, so the goal, or the point I'm trying to get to here is you want your viewers to feel like they're getting something out of being there, because you have only like a few seconds to catch their attention when they show up, right? And if you don't, it's like flicking the channel on the remote. You're flicking, you're flicking, you're flicking. Hey, look, that show looks interesting. Oh, nope, that sucks. Click, 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 and away you go, right? So that applies on stream as much as anything, and it might even be faster because that back button is just so easy to reach, right? And we've all seen it happen. You have somebody show up, and then you see the little stat number jump by a viewer or two, and then they go away 5 seconds later. You're like, do I smell bad or something? You don't want that. So you want to make sure that from the moment somebody shows up, that if they came there for a reason, that they're getting what they came for. And it's kind of like in any kind of a business. You want your customers to get what they're... Thank you for the follow. You want people to get what they came there for. And almost always on Twitch, it's going to be entertainment value. There are some people who go to various streams just because like the gameplay level is so high that they know they're going to learn something that'll make their gameplay level rise. But they still want to be entertained. They don't want you talking like this because it's... you need to be engaging. And the easiest way to do that is to look at your camera like it's a person looking back at you. And I know this is going to sound really goofy, but trust me, it can work. If you're not sure how to get that like comfortable, engaged tone in your voice, wow, this guy's really kind of back, I say. If you want to get that tone into your voice while you're gaming, put a cutout of somebody that you're comfortable talking to behind your camera. So when you look at it, you see a face that you're comfortable talking to, and it sort of cuts back on that feeling of talking to a mechanism when you're looking at the camera. Because, that is what you're really doing. But when you see a human face, you light up a little, It just makes you put tone and inflection into your voice that you wouldn't otherwise have. Let's say you're at a point in the game where you're a little bit busy and you can't look at chat. What do? Well, always make sure that when you notice that you've been engaged in the game and you haven't been noticing chat, like Dark Knight talking about the tutorial bit there, go back, pause your game if you have to, or at least pause what you're doing in the game and go back, because nothing makes people more frustrated than feeling like they put in the effort to come out of that lurker mode, right, and talk to you and you blew them off. If they feel like you blew them off, they are going to leave and they're never going to come back. And if they ever talk about your channel in the future, they're going to be like, that guy blew people off, even if it's totally not true. So you have to be a little self-monitoring, right? Now, here's the other thing. Yes, it's great to talk about the game, but you also want to create what I'll call a cult of personality around yourself. And there's no bigger example of that than Dr. Disrespect. This is a guy who has a huge following. He just went through a major scandal, and he still has a huge following. And why is that? Because he brings out that character and he creates that fandom, around it that draws people in. He just really nails that to a degree that most people don't, right? Now, that's not to say you have to put on a character when you're streaming, but you do want people to get to know you. You want them to connect with you, right? And one way you can do that is through storytelling. So there are certain kinds of stories you can tell on stream. Wow, there's a lot of monsters, huh? Luckily, I have the game set to safe mode, so I can talk instead of getting my butt kicked. Um, One kind of story you can always tell is something about yourself that has an interesting or twist ending to it. And I'm going to tell a story tonight. Hopefully, when there's a little bit, yeah, you've seen his streams before. It's chaos. Yeah, it is. He's got a huge following, and there's no way you could possibly keep up with everything yourself. He probably has mods helping him do that. You want something with a funny or twist ending to it. And I'm going to tell one, hopefully, when there are a few more people in here, so you guys can get a feel for how to engage and how to do good storytelling. Because storytelling is, I swear, it's one of your best tools, and it's something that you should practice. And when you do storytelling, you want to do it like you're sitting around with some of your friends and you've been hanging out and it's really late and if you're old enough or, break the law or whatever, you had a couple of drinks and you're really relaxed and you're just like, oh my God, dude, I got to tell you about this time. You aren't going to believe it. The kind of stories you want are the kind that are so unbelievable that they start with that phrase, so there I was, which is usually a sign the story's going to be complete bullshit, right? But you want that kind of like almost mythical aspect to it. I've got a story for you, man. When you're in that zone, you can pull out some stuff. And I'm, you know what? I'm just going to belt out one of those stories now. By the way, iced tea, gotta love it. All right, so when Busted Hip was maybe 30 years younger and a whole lot of pounds thinner, he was a 12-year-old who went to a summer camp in the Adirondacks in New York. And this place was like just gorgeous. It was this huge amount of land this place had, and you lived in log cabins, and they were kind of cool. They're literally log cabins, right? And you had like a bunk and a locker, but what you didn't have in these cabins was a bathroom, okay? So if you watch the mouse for a second here, I'll see if I can disengage the mouse. Okay, so imagine there are cabins in this C-shaped pattern on a hill, right? With a hill toward the top of the screen. And none of these cabins have a bathroom in them, but up around here where this compass is, there's a building called the latrine, which has like showers and, bathroom stalls and stuff like that. So that's where you had to go. So why is that important? Okay, when you're at summer camp, you got to keep in mind, this is like 1982. Okay, so I'm, turn on your Wayback Machine. We didn't have like 40 years of Freddy and Jason and Mike Myers and Scream movies and Saw and Hostel and everything that left us basically numb to horror stories. And every place has, the standard stuff, oh, and there was a hook on the side of the car, and, and the call came from inside the house and all that kind of stuff. But every place also has their local mythology, right? Like the Pacific Northwest has Bigfoot, and the New Jersey area has the Jersey Devil, and, the British Isles have the Loch Ness Monster, and blah, blah, blah. Well, we had our own local scare story, which in hindsight is so embarrassingly dumb that it's like, how could anybody be scared of this? But when you're 12, stuff sounds different, okay? So, the stories of the watermelon baby, which was a kid that was born shaped like and kind of looking like a watermelon, and his parents threw the kid in the basement, and they fed him only watermelon, chucking it down the stairs year after year, and the kid grew into a malformed monster with giant teeth and hideous claws and, talons for feet and whatever other stuff 12-year-olds can make up about what a monster would look like, right? And it stalks the woods around this camp looking for unwary kids in the dark, right? And, of course, obviously trash, but it was the local myth, right? So now we fast forward. It's nighttime, you wake up, you gotta go to the bathroom, and you're in one of these cabins, right? So what do? You gotta run across this field in the dark, okay? To get to the bathroom. And you open the door to the cabin, and it's just basically a giant wood plank with a spring on it, right, to pull it shut on a hinge, right? It doesn't have a latch, it's just a handle and a push plate. And the same thing happens every time. If you're looking out the cabin window in the dark, you can have a good laugh at this when it's not you. It always goes the same way. The door opens, right? And the kid sticks his head out and he's looking around, and then the flashlight comes out, right? And he's looking to make sure there's no watermelon baby out there. He'll tell you he's afraid of bears, but no, he's really looking for the watermelon baby. And then when he's confident that there's none, he takes off at a sprint like you ain't never seen. Like, and he's running across that field trying to get to that bathroom, right? And the flashlight's swinging all over the place, and his head spinning around like the kid in that movie, The Exorcist, like he's an owl, and trying to make sure he doesn't get killed by the watermelon baby on the way to the bathroom. So he gets to the bathroom, and the door slams shut. You heave a sigh of relief. So now we have to put that on pause, and I have to tell you about a counselor named Brian Adair, who was like 6'4", black guy, played football. I mean, he was just a huge dude, but gentle as like a puppy. He was one of the favorite people of all the kids there, okay? Which is why what he was about to do to me was so up, okay? So I'm in there, and I find my way into a stall, and I sit down, and I'm getting ready to do my business, and I pull the door shut, the doors, the slide latch is done, and what I don't know is the slide latches on these things have been intentionally shaped round so that if a kid ever gets in trouble, all you have to do is tap the bottom of the door and it will pop open and the counselors and staff can get to you to save you, right? But I don't know that, okay? But Brian does. And he's waiting in the shower area of this latrine building, right? To kick the door open and scare me. But he's not just waiting, okay? So these feet creep up. And there's this tremendous clang right as he kicks the bottom of the door and it comes crashing open. And there's this like 6'4" guy, I swear to God, in the most realistic looking werewolf mask I have ever seen in my fucking life. And, right? And I swear if I had been like 40 years older, I would have had a heart attack and died right there on the frickin' spot, okay? So this guy just completely wrecks me, okay? And I obviously, spaz out, and then I realize there's this cackling laughter coming from underneath the mask, and he pulls it off, and it's Brian, and, first I'm mad, and then he leans in, he says to me, "Get in the shower area, we're going to get the next one," right? And by the time like an hour has gone by, there's like 20 of us in the shower, as the kid comes running up the hill, because we all know what's about to happen, and we just had a grand old time, right, scaring the hell out of, other kids the same way we got scared. So that was like the best practical joke I've ever seen in my life, okay? So, yeah, and gotta love ghost stories. Yes, they are. Okay, so now backing it up, some people have come and gone here, but the reason I told that story was to give an idea of how you can use storytelling when you're on stream, right, to improve your engagement with people, okay? Because if you're not sitting there kind of giggling at the image of this guy as a 12-year-old getting the poop literally scared at him by a 6'4" dude in a werewolf mask, okay, that, there's something you're not getting about that story. But you notice how when I tell it, I'm animated, right? Because when you're talking about stuff that you engage, okay? So I can pull out, fun stories from my own life and share them with the audience, and I'm giving them a piece of me. But the thing you got to keep in mind is, like I said earlier, you want the story to have a happy or twist or funny ending. And the funny ending there is when Brian told us all, "Come on, get in the shower, we're going to get the next one," and we got to be part of the joke, right? Because that's the part people don't see coming. You can sort of picture like a bullyish counselor doing that to kids, whatever, but he really wasn't. He was just trying to give everybody a heck of a yuck, right? So you want the stories to end well and in a fun way. So have some stories like rolling around in your head that you could share with people, when it's appropriate. If somebody's talking about the new horror movie that came out, I could always say, "Oh my God, let me tell you about the monster story from when I was a kid." And it just flows right into it, right? So have some stuff on tap that you can use to engage. Now, we have a couple of more people than when we started, so I'm going to backtrack a smidge and just give a short recap. First thing you got to know about talking while on stream is what not to say, and the topics you want to avoid are sex, politics, religion, and money. Okay? Those things are just never good things to talk about because they always get people arguing, and once that stuff starts, man, it is a fire. It's very hard to put out. So you don't want to just go down that, and if it happens, try and redirect the conversation into something else. Always safe to talk about the game, do it like tutorial-ish, give tips and tricks. All right, so now we just talked about stories. The other big problem I see people have when they're on stream is just that, that public speaking reluctance that everybody starts out with, including me, all right? The thing to keep in mind here is you gotta talk. You gotta talk and you gotta keep talking. And the reason for it is that even if you're sitting around and you're on a stream and nobody's there, somebody could be watching it in the replay later. And if somebody comes by and they want to give your channel a shot and they click on one of those videos and you're just sitting there with your big old bottom lip out, looking all mad and stuff and not talking, they're not going to want to come back. But if you're animated, even when there's nothing going on, just because you're enjoying the game and you're having fun doing what you do, it projects a better image. It hooks people in better. So always try to be talking and engaging. You could be explaining game mechanics. You can be giving ideas on little secrets you found. You can point out bugs to avoid that'll, save people from having their game crash in the middle of an important moment. But always try to keep something going on. And when you mess that one up, always go back and say, wow, I just got really sucked into that. Like, actually make it part of your banter. Like, holy cow, that was intense, man. I was beating on this worm here, and it vomited lava at me, and I was like, oh my god, dude. And I got so sucked into it that I'll let the guy vomit on me for a second if he wants to do that. They usually do that in a minute. I'll just beat the heck out of him. But, if something's going on, explain why it got you engaged and, it pulled you away from talking. Because people like knowing that you're still paying attention, that you haven't just sort of given up, right? Okay, one bug in this game caused by Unity, the dreaded super jump, where your head bumps into the upper limit of the sky in the area, and then you're like, oh boy, the fall damage is going to suck, right? So yes, that is definitely still an ongoing challenge with this game. I still maintain that this game is a much prettier game than Minecraft, though. So you guys are just seeing me down in this hole. Let me show you what I'm actually doing here. I am working on building a large castle structure, which I have shelled out. And I didn't want to fall off. I got my barbicans here, and I got a walkway over a lava pit that I'm going to be building around the entire castle. That's what I'm excavating down there. But yeah, so I've got the basic shape of the castle. I'm going to extend the towers up and put, defenses along the walls here and things like that to make it look prettier. So anyway, keep the banter going, all right? And when you're playing and you're looking at chat, if somebody says something funny, acknowledge it, okay? Because you're not the only person in the stream who's got something to contribute. If you have viewers, they've got their own minds, their own stories, their own jokes, their own stuff that happened to them that day. And if they're sharing it, you want that. You absolutely want that. Because that's what makes the give and take happen that really brings the channel to life. Okay? So that brings us to the next bit, which is how do you entice people to want to engage? Okay? Now, there are lots of ways to do it, and one of them is actually based on what is, what the room you're streaming in is like. And one of the best things is if you have a room where you've got some, like shelves and such behind you, put things that are interesting to you on the shelves so that people in stream can actually see them. Because let's say you're a fan of a particular anime and you've got posters for it. People who recognize it will speak up. They're like, oh my god, that anime is awesome. Or, how can you even like that, man? Like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was the only one worth anything, and you get a little bit of friendly, my fandom is cooler than your fandom kind of banter going on. So if you have shelves or anything like if you have a way to put posters up behind you, that invites people to connect with your interests and their interests and then engage, okay? So I'm going to stop yakking for a second and ask you, what challenges have you guys had, if any? Spell them out in chat for me. Let me know what you've had as difficulties with your in-stream talk. Okay, or if you just got something to say about the game, that's awesome too. Like, let me know what you're thinking. Meanwhile, I will hork back some more iced tea and give you guys a minute to say your piece, and then I will get back to my part of it if we don't have questions to dig into. Do, 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 do. I also like to make my own sound effects. I'm totally guilty of that. It's horrible. I am never satisfied with in-game sound effects. If I'm playing an airplane game, I start doing like Star Wars Death Star battle music in my head and things like that and start humming it. It's really kind of shameful. Okay. So, not seeing a lot of questions yet. If any pop up, we'll address them. So, we've talked about what not to say. We've talked about what you... Oh, wait, here we go. Main issue I had was getting my graphics set up to your liking. Okay. Well, that's a separate issue than the talk. And I'll tell you a secret. People will forgive image problems a lot faster than they will forgive sound problems. And they will forgive bad gameplay a lot faster than they will forgive feeling ignored. Okay? Like, I am so not even close to pro at any game in the world, right? I'm just not that good. I'm old, I'm decrepit, I have arthritis and degenerative joint issues and stuff like that. My reflexes are absolutely not what they once were when I was like 20. So people coming to my channel are not coming here, and yeah, I agree, nothing wrong with your own sound effects. They're not coming here to see the highest level gameplay in the world. But what they will get out of coming here is somebody who will pay attention to them, and who will enjoy, yes, thank you, I discovered a crafting component, who will enjoy the game he's playing and who will share that love with the people who are here, who will appreciate them, and who will goof around and make an ass of himself and generally just have a great time and try to bring other people into that happy attitude. So yeah, making your own sound effects can be very entertaining, particularly if they're amusing or silly. Don't be afraid to do that, because everything about your stream should be reflective of you. And that brings me back to the comment I made earlier about Dr. Disrespect. Don't try to put on a character that's not yourself. Don't try to act in a way that isn't you. What you want to be is the most engaging you that you can be, okay? So, like, I'll give you an example. I could show up here wearing a dirty undershirt and just kind of ignoring people and being blah, and, with the dirt all over my face and whatever else. Or I could show up wearing a suit and tie, but neither one of those things would be the genuine me, right? I'm just a shorts and a t-shirt kind of guy, or jeans and a t-shirt kind of guy. I just want to chill out, I want to relax, I want to drink my iced tea. So I got my t-shirt on, I got my iced tea handy in this giant mug, which is, as you can see, not the biggest one I have, but it's still almost as tall as my head. And that way, because I am being the real and genuine me, if somebody comes back a year from now, they'll get the same experience that brought them back in the first place. They won't be like, this guy seems totally different. That's not why I came here. So be the engaging version of yourself. That's always the right choice. If you're going to be putting on airs, do it because you're like a cosplayer or you're an actor or, for some other reason like that, that's actually a subject matter choice, right? Don't do it just to do it. Don't, assume a character that you're not going to stick with, that kind of thing, because people like to know what they're getting out of your channel. Okay, so, any other questions before we continue? Okay. Okay, so a few do's and don'ts. The first one is, I know that it can be very tempting to just let it all hang out and go hardcore with the vulgarity and such like that, but I'm going to recommend against it. And that's not saying that you have to be totally prudish in your language, but you don't have to be like Jay from Jay and Silent Bob either. First, these days the terms of service make that a very risky way to act. And secondly, people want more than that out of their stream experience. They want somebody who can actually communicate with them. And, let's be honest, swearing endlessly is sort of like a cop out. It's you're using the words for emphasis because they're easy and they're convenient. And yeah, they are shocking a little and that kind of thing. But when you're swearing, usually what you're trying to do is emphasize something, right? Like if something is great, you might say, that's effing cool. But you could just as easily say, that is the most awesome thing I have seen all day, man. Like, you can do it without the swearing and you can still emphasize. And that's not to say you can never swear. It just means don't overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Because, number one, it's terms of service risky. And number two, it's not as communicative. And eventually, let's be honest, there are only a couple of swear words that we tend to use, consistently, and that makes it repetitive. And that's bad. You don't want to be just banging your head against the wall with the same old language, the same old statements over and over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what people will start to hear. Your mouth will be moving, and all they'll hear is blah, wah, 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 like one of those teachers on Peanuts, in the Charlie Brown shows. Wah, 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 like that. So don't fall prey to that one. There was actually a discussion in one of the Facebook groups today about that, and somebody was talking about trying to come to terms with it and thinking about going over to YouTube. And I don't know what his or her decision actually was, but the strange thing that struck me strangely about that is that it seems like such a how can I put this? It seems like such an extreme choice to face yourself with when the option of just changing your language choices is right there in front of you and costs you nothing. You know what I mean? So use your words carefully, use your language carefully. Have command over your language choices. Don't let them run you. You choose your own language. You choose your own words. So let's see. How do we get over the reluctance to talk? Especially if there's nobody there. Well, we talked about the importance of it because people will eventually show up and they might look at a recording and they're going to want to hear something, but that doesn't necessarily help you start talking, right? Just knowing that doesn't help you start talking. So the idea is to have some ideas about what you want to talk about before you start your stream. Like I chose this game tonight because it's one where I know I have it set to safe mode. I'm not going to be shorting a team that I'm playing with. If I get distracted from the screen, I can just let go of the mouse and look at the camera and talk to you for as long as I need to, and it won't impact things at all. I can show pretty scenery if I want to. I can engage with visuals, but I don't have to do anything that's going to, cause me to have to pay more attention to the game than to the people that are watching the stream. And if people want to know what's good about this game, I'll point out that it's a voxel builder, kind of like Minecraft, but it's got better looking graphics, more stuff you can build, more cool looks you can do, and it's got a nice big world that can give you a huge amount of stuff you can see and experience. There's 8 zillion kinds of forests. It's just, you can talk a lot about the game, but you have to know what you might use as a conversation piece when you go on stream. And conversation pieces or conversation starters can be anything from playing a new game that you haven't tried before to having visuals behind you. I've seen people, including myself, who have had a camera pointed at their dog because, let's face it, dogs are awesome. My dog is out in the other room where I would point the camera at her right now. But you can see that puppy in my profile picture. She's just a cute puppy. I've seen people have contests. I've seen people do lots of stuff. But you want conversation starters kind of on tap. And that can be anything from, physical objects to just things that you can bring up. Like, if you have a decent group of people in the room, you can say, okay, everybody, Star Trek or Star Wars, go. Right? And that's a friendly argument people can have that, is a safe one, and that people generally have their fandom preferences, Best anime, go, that kind of thing. So you can have a bunch of different things like that you can use as conversation starters. It's obviously harder to do that when you have a small audience. Okay, right now we do not have a huge audience in the channel. So if you put out one of those things where you're trying to solicit opinions, you're trying to ask people to express their opinion. Wow, that's a lot of frozen water over there. Express their opinions about stuff. They're not going to be as likely to engage. But you can also do things in small streams that can be effective depending on who's there. Like if you notice, I have asked a couple times for people's opinions on things related to the topic we're discussing tonight. And if you're here because you want to talk about talking, you're already in the mindset where this is the subject that you're here for, and you want to really just get that information and learn and get your value out of the time you're spending here, right? So if you're if you have questions, absolutely ask them. I asked earlier what the biggest challenge people had, and we got the one comment about getting your graphics set up. It's a little bit off topic, but it's good to know that you recognize you've got a challenge and you're working on it. As far as graphics settings go, everybody has some kind of graphics challenge they've had to overcome, and when you're talking in stream, it's sometimes very useful because there may be somebody there who's experienced the same problem that you ran into, and who might have the answer you've been combing Google for but haven't found yet. So it's always good to be ready to talk to people about the subjects that you recognize are important to them. Okay, so I'm going to take another short yakety yak break here and ask you guys, what do you need? What challenges do you have? How can I help you with your, whatever obstacles you have with talking on stream? So I'm going to take another sip of tea here and wait for you guys to give me some idea what you need from me. Oh, that's good iced tea. Unrelated to anything for tonight, making your own iced tea is so much better than buying the bottled stuff, I think. All right, I'm going to go into my tree house. Takes a minute to load because it's far across the world. You walk through the teleporter. Okay. So, this is my tree house where I stash my stuff. All these chests full of goodies. Lots and lots of them. So we just had somebody new join. Right now, a new person, we are putting it out there for people to ask whatever challenges they have had, or to express challenges they have had, so that I can sort of target how I continue to help with the specific problems that folks are facing, with talking on stream. So if that's why you're here, if you're here to talk about stream talking, then you just let me know what the challenges you're having are, and we will address your specific problems. So let's hear your questions, concerns, challenges, that kind of good stuff. Look at these beautiful trees. Look how big this stuff is. It's beautiful. Love it. That's the outer view of my treehouse up there. It's way up in the air. Let's go harvest some of these queen bees so I can harvest some beeswax and honey. Yeah. So a quick recap for the new attendees here. We did a little bit talking about things to talk about and not to talk about. We talked about the power of storytelling and how to do it. I gave a demonstration and embarrassed myself a little bit with a story from my childhood. But people seem to find it amusing, which is the entire purpose of storytelling. You want people to find amusement in the things that you have to say. You want them to be engaged and having a good time, sharing a laugh. We also talked about being a little goofy and choosing your language and, making the most of the words that you use. If anybody wants to go back over any of those topics, you let me know and I can always do a recap. Right now I'm just doing a little Creativerse, harvesting a few things to farm some materials for later. Let's look at that beautiful treehouse. Oh yeah. All right. I love this game. I love the way the trees look, and I love the night views. It's just such a beautiful game. Okay, so we're not getting a bunch more questions, so I'll just take it away again. So one of the up so high it's actually cold atmosphere. That's pretty wild. Um, I just derailed my own train of thought, but there are other things to talk about, so that's good. When you are on stream and you're trying to motivate yourself, one of the keys to doing that is to make the task as easy on yourself as it can be. If you set out to yak for 20 minutes straight, like if you have that as a goal when you open your mouth, that can be a little intimidating. So don't make huge yakety yak, commitments to the stream. Just commit to talking a little bit about something that's going on. That way you don't have a huge task ahead of you and you can just, briefly offer a couple of thoughts and get people's attention. Bring them back into the experience, into the moment, because that's what you really want, is people to view your stream as a shared experience, between them and you, because that's what we're really doing here, right? I'm here to entertain you. I'm here to have fun playing my own video game, right? But I could do that on my own. I wouldn't have to stream to do that. I'm here because I want to share the experience. And if the viewers aren't enjoying the shared experience, then, it's not going well. So you want to have them enjoy the experience with you. When you do something that you find exciting, you want them to feel excited too. When something goes wrong, you want them to sympathize. When something is just a great triumph, you want them to cheer. And you can bring that stuff into the line of conversation by just having short bits of stuff that you talk about. You need to be talking consistently, but you don't need to talk for an hour straight. You can take a breath. You can stop. You can drink your tea. And give yourself a minute to collect your thoughts. So the point here, the takeaway here, is to make the job of talking as easy for you as possible. If you find that the idea of giving a long diatribe is intimidating, don't do that. Just say to yourself, I'm going to have 4 or 5 things I want to talk to people about tonight, and if the conversation starts to slow, I'm just going to pull one of those out, and I'm just going to remind people, hey, by the way, I was telling you earlier I had some stuff I wanted to share. Well, one of them is that I just got a new dog, or I just got a new car, or, I had a cold and I just got over it, or, dinner tonight was chicken and biscuits and it was delicious, and I would love to give you the recipe if anybody wants it. Whatever it is, just have a couple of things that you can share that aren't challenging, that you don't have to think up off the cuff, that you can just drop into the conversation anytime with a simple, I just remembered I wanted to tell you X, okay? And when they occur to you, just drop them in. It's not meant to be painful to talk with people, and a lot of people do treat it as if it is like the most horrifying experience in the world to have to talk on stream. Don't let it become a source of fear or intimidation for you. Just, gab as you can and have some things to share. When people are engaging and they start to talk in chat, when you get a few more audience members, obviously I don't have a huge audience yet, but I've had a lot of years in sales. I've done a lot of public speaking, so I know wherever I speak here. One thing that becomes very, very important when you're engaging is to watch out for the hecklers and the trolls and the naysayers and the negative Nellies and those kind of people. Because you should have an idea in mind of what kind of community you want to build, okay? For example, for me, I could say the community I want to build is one that is more playing the games for the fun than for the stats, Like I play some shooter games, and the audience I'm trying to build isn't the kind of people who will say, your kill-death ratio isn't high enough, you suck. I don't want those kind of people. I don't want toxic people. I don't want people who are so engrossed in stats that they forget it's a game that they're supposed to enjoy. So have some kind of idea what kind of community you want to build. And if somebody shows up and they're sabotaging that, you're not obligated to give them a platform to, cause trouble. It's not your job to provide a platform for other people to cause a ruckus, okay? So don't let people who show up in your chat and start mouthing off be a problem for you. There are several ways you can address those people. The first one, obviously, is just to ban them and be done with it, right? Because nothing frustrates a troll more than not having their platform. And I got to be honest with you, it can be very satisfying to swing that ban hammer, and in your head you're like, yeah, just kind of thinking you got the short end of the stick, pal, because this is my house. You get that feeling. It's pretty cool. You can also engage with them. I'm not going to recommend it because feeding trolls just makes them want to come back, and that can eventually cause more trouble than it's worth. But you can just tell them, keep talking, you're just raising my numbers. Because that is the net effect of them posting a lot and being present in the channel is they're raising your average viewer count and they are making chat look more active. One thing that drives trolls away a lot of the time is being told that their efforts to ruin your experience are actually making things better for you, because they're not there to make your life better, and when they figure out that they might actually be helping you, that makes them kind of nuts. But again, you risk them kind of losing their minds on stream, and with the new TOS, you can actually get in trouble for stuff that people say in your chat, even if it's not you saying it, right? So that is probably a method of dealing with these people that is on its way out. You're not going to be able to do that forever, because eventually they will find ways to vent their anger in such a horrific way that it can actually cause you trouble, and get you reported to Twitch for your time. So I would say your best bet is probably just to ban them. You will get the occasional person who will literally go and make another account just so they can keep trolling you. And they can be a little bit tough to get rid of. But, eventually, if you don't even talk to them and they just have to get banned and banned and banned and banned, they'll go away. They will. Because they want you to engage with them for whatever weird kind of bullying outcome they're looking for. So don't give them that. It's just easier. Okay, let's see. It is 8:45. And let's see. All right, so we have two people here. One of you is a chatbot, so I don't know who the second one is, but I'm glad to have you, and I'm not going to out you by name or look up who you are or anything, because I have been told, and I have found to be true, that if people just want to lurk, they don't want to be called out by name. They don't want the shout out. If they want to engage, they'll do so on their own initiative. And it's important that you recognize that. People want to engage on their own terms, so let them. If somebody just wants to lurk, it's still useful. You get the extra viewer number, and the channel will appear a little higher on the list of channels of whatever game you're playing. So it's beneficial. It may not be quite as entertaining as if they're participating in a rousing conversation with you, but it's not harmful, and it is helpful. So be grateful that people are there, and let them choose how, when, and if they want to engage. Because I promise, if they want to talk to you, you'll know. They will pipe up in chat. They will say something. If you have song requests on, they'll request music. They'll do something to let you know that they're there. Okay. So let's see, what else? That's most of what you need to know in terms of the basics of how to talk. The only other things I would say are important for the short term are try to use good language. And I don't mean that as in not swearing. I mean, there's a difference between, how can I put this? There's a difference between speaking well and just coming off like an idiot. Talk about what you know. Don't act like an authority on things that you're not an authority on. Be who you are. Know what you know. Acknowledge if you don't know something. Learn from people you can. But don't be that guy who acts like they know everything about everything, and they're just going to be a jerk about it. They're not just going to share information. They're going to belittle you if you don't know it, and blah, blah, blah. Don't be that guy. And when you talk about good language, try to, you're not really applying for college or anything, but try to use the best language that you're capable of. The more intelligent you sound, the more people will respect what you have to say. And that's just sort of a universal thing. That's not just a streaming thing, that's everywhere. If you talk like somebody who never graduated from first grade and probably can't spell their own name on paper, then people are going to treat you like somebody who, never graduated first grade and can barely spell their own name on paper. So use the best language you can. If that means you have to be more calm and thoughtful, for a moment until you get used to it, that's fine. It comes with practice. I wasn't born a good public speaker. It took time, it took effort, and it is totally worth it because the speaking skills that you can apply here on Twitch are the same kind that you may be called upon to use in your professional life someday. If you can get up in front of a group of people and present information to them, that's a valuable skill in and of itself, and Twitch is a great practice ground for that. There's always some place you can go to talk. There's always some place you can go to listen. There's always some place you can watch something. There's always a chat that you can get involved in. So it's a great place to polish your skills in a way that will benefit your channel and will actually benefit you in the work world. So always remember that there's a world beyond streaming, but Twitch can be a great proving ground for some of those talents that you're going to want to be able to put on a resume later in life. I'm assuming you're, under 25 and maybe not doing the resume kind of job yet. But the point being, that it's a great practice venue. It's a place where there's always an audience, and you can practice your speaking skills on your own stream. You can practice your writing skills, your ability to communicate, your ability to tell a good joke without offending, in other people's chats, because that's all written communication. It's all about building up your communication skill set. And that, in the end, is really the crux of the whole thing. Talking on stream is a form of public speaking. You're not face-to-face with the audience, but the audience is still there. It may not even be present when you're recording the video for that night. The audience may show up later watching it as a recording, and that's okay. But you're still speaking to an audience. So you want to keep that in mind, and you want to remember that this is a very important skill. And not just for Twitch, for every part of your professional career, it's going to be important. And one thing you're going to find, if you look around, is that a lot of people can't speak in public. They just, never practice the skills. So Twitch is a public speaking environment. It's a safe one by comparison, because it's not like you're going to, unless you're a professional streamer that's making a ton of money, in which case you don't really need my advice anyway. You're not paying your bills based on what happens with your stream. So it's a safe environment to practice these communication skills, where if you blow it one night, bleh, who cares, right? It's not the end of the world if you, say something dumb, or you make an offhand remark that doesn't go well, or you tell a joke that isn't funny. It doesn't kill you here. So it's useful for that as well. So I guess as a short recap, remember there are things that are good to talk about on stream and things that are not so good. And the general rule is hot button topics are probably something to avoid. That you want to be as naturally yourself as possible. Don't try to make yourself out to be better. Like, don't do the suit and tie thing. And don't go totally slobbish either. Don't, I'm having a rotten day. Positivity is always good. Have a few stories on hand that relate to things happening in the world or the game you're playing, so that you can always, share a bit of yourself with your audience. I told the story earlier, and people seem to get a good yuck out of that, and that's good. You want people to have a good time. And keep up the chatter. It doesn't have to be constant. You don't have to fill every possible moment with sound, but you should keep the communication going as much as possible. Think of it like radio, where if you're listening to the radio in your car, instead of listening to your own, playlist, dead air makes you want to flip the channel. So don't let too much dead air happen. And if you do have it, show up occasionally, jump right back into it and say, wow, I was really into that in the game. Sorry about that. I have not abandoned you, audience fam, and just let them know you're still there for them. You are absolutely part of the experience, and you want them to, be part of that. You want them to really recognize that you're there for them, because that's what audience members want. Is they want you. That's why you go to a concert. It's not so you can sit in a chair in a large crowd. It's because you want whatever the performer is offering. You want that rock band, or you want that public speaker, or you want that whatever. But you go out there because you want something from the person that you're paying for that ticket for, right? And that becomes even more important when you reach things like affiliate status and whatever, because people can actually offer money for what you're offering them, and it better be worth it, or they will stop paying you, right? So practice, practice, practice. That's the thing. And if anybody who's watched this wants me to come and watch their channel a little, and maybe look for places where they could drop in a story or give them some ideas on presentation, I am always happy to do that. I am not the critical type. I'm constructive, not mean, because mean sucks. Like nobody likes mean. I am not a drill sergeant. I am just another streamer. So let me know if anybody would like that. Send me a message here on Twitch, or whatever other way you want to get in touch, and just let me know, and I'm happy to do that. So let's see. It is almost 9 o'clock. We've been going for about an hour. I'm just going to throw it out there to you guys again. Does anybody have anything they wanted to ask? Any challenges they've had? If not, I'm probably going to wrap up pretty soon, because I think an hour is about long enough to talk about talking for one night. So it's in your hands. What do you want to do, folks? I'm just going to drink my tea for a second. I guess I could always add to the list of tips here, always keep a beverage on hand, because if you talk too long, eventually your throat gets parched. That's, believe it, that's useful, Not seeing a lot of questions coming up yet. So we might be just having some lurkers tonight, which, again, if you have showed up here to lurk, I thank you. It is awesome to have you actually take the time to stop by, open up that window, and just share your time with me. Okay, I play mostly RPGs, and I mainly talk like I'm the main character and ask the questions of my character. Yes. Okay, you bring up an excellent point. There are a lot of games where there is dialogue that is subtitled on screen. Is that what you're talking about, Raldi? Where, you see the text of the dialogue along the bottom of the screen as the characters speak? Okay, so there are two schools of thought on that. The one that I adhere to is, if it's just, a text window at the bottom, narrate the living heck out of it, right? If it's a guy voice, we must go to the village and capture the enemy captain before he can raid our city. Like put on a, oh my gosh, thank you for saving me, Mr. Hero. Put on a goofy voice and narrate it and have fun with it. But if there are really high-end voice actors being engaged for it, and the one that comes to mind for me for this is the Batman Arkham Asylum game, the first one of those, where they actually had, Mark Hamill voicing the Joker, and all the characters from the animated shows reprising their roles in the game, that really gave it that atmosphere. I wouldn't want to talk over those, So if there's no voice acting, or if the voice acting is just pure, like, 8-bit tripe, go ahead, talk over it, have fun with it. But if that narration in the game is part of the game experience, like it is in Batman Arkham Asylum, let that ride, because a lot of people, like, I love the Mark Hamill Joker. I don't know if you've actually watched any of those Batman cartoons, Batman the Animated Series, or Justice League, or whatever. But they have a guy who voices him who is just perfect for the part, and he has become like the voice of that character in the animated world. And with Mark Hamill doing the Joker, he's got, just tremendous connection with that character. So you don't want to stomp on that because real, like, hardcore fans are paying attention for those voices. So, kind of bear that in mind. But anytime where you just have the text on the bottom of the screen, you are absolutely right. You narrate that. You narrate all of it. I was playing Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and whenever one of those letters popped up, I would read it. I'm playing The Witcher 3 right now, and I basically ask the questions, yes, exactly, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So, anybody else who's watching, Raldi has the right idea. Okay? Work with the material. Put your own unique spin on it and work with the material rather than fighting the material. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, Raldi? Yeah, you see, you got it. You know not to talk over him. Perfect. You got it. Okay. So, by the way, is the stuff that I've been sharing here useful to you guys? Because I don't want to bore anybody, obviously, and I don't want to give out information people don't want. If you've been paying attention and listening for a little bit, is the information I've shared stuff that you find useful? Let me know, because I might do more videos like this if people are finding them helpful. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Any other questions? Raldi had a good one there, and I'm always excited to hear from people in chat. I'm really going through this tea. Sorry about the sniffles. I've had this lingering cold for a couple of weeks. It's just been dragging on like an alligator's tail. You know what I mean? Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions for the moment. So what I think I'm going to do is, since we've been at this for an hour, I'm going to wrap up, and I'm going to ask that if you liked it, great. Yeah, I that's why I did it. I've seen a lot of people who say, "Oh, I can make your stream great, but you gotta pay me," and there are some who are probably worth paying, but I don't know which ones are, and I don't want to be that guy. I just want to give back because people in the online groups that I've joined have all been really friendly to me and really helpful, and I want to be part of that. I want to do something useful, and I don't want to charge people money for it. I just want to help. So. Oh, hey, thank you for the follow. Yeah, because, that's it. I just want to do something nice, and people have been nice to me. You got to pay it forward. That's all there is to it, man. Make the world a better place, pay it forward, help people, do the right thing. Yeah, so again, if you liked it, great. Thank you so much. And if you have ideas for other topics you'd like me to do videos on, let me know. I will be happy to craft other streams to help people figure out other challenges. Just public speaking is one of my strong suits. I've actually done some voice acting work. I have the training from my sales career to, know a lot about how conversation flow works and that kind of thing. But if there's other subjects I have expertise in that people would like to know about, I am always looking for ways to be helpful. In the meantime, yes, Raldi, thank you, and I will make more as I find out what people need to know. So thanks everybody for stopping by Busted Tip Gaming tonight, and the game I've been playing is Creativerse, which is a Minecraft-like game, just in my opinion a lot prettier. So I hope that if you like the look of it, you'll give it a quick look over on Steam. Meantime, have a good night everybody, and this is Busted Hip. Till next time.